Coach Stone Podcast.
Coach Stone Podcast number 37. I want to thank everyone listening to the Coach Stone Podcast, JC Hawks Radio, JC Hawks Sports Network. BJ, thank you so much for letting me do this. If you ever miss an episode of any of my podcasts, you can listen to them on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, and now Google Play under JC Hawks Radio. Also remember, go to my website for more information about podcasts, blogs, books, football tips, and free PE games. Go to www.coachstonefootball.com. Also, I recommend when you go to my website, go to the bottom of my website for my promo codes of all the products that I think would help you as a coach or a player. For some, you'll hear during the commercial break during the podcast. Remember, if you haven't seen my books, Back to the Basics Football Drill Manuals, I highly recommend them. They are on Amazon.com, hardcover and Kindle. There are currently 11 football books out, anywhere from tackle books, flag books, tackle bar books, a football clinic notebook, mom's edition notebook, and a junior edition. Over 2,900 pages of football drills and content. Without further ado, Coach Stone Podcast number 37. I'm very excited about this. I want to introduce three people from DragonFly Max: Brandon Wallace, Director of Business Development; Clint Sanders, Product Manager; Rachel Merritt, Customer Engagement Manager. Are you guys all on?
We're here.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
No, hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I can't wait for the listeners to hear about your awesome product. If you have not heard about DragonFly Max, when we do the pregame, each person is just going to say a little bit about themselves, and then they're going to talk about the product too in general. But for my listeners, if you're a first-time listener, we're going to go very simple. Pre-game, talk a little bit about the people and the product, and then we're going to go to a kickoff question, a first drive question, halftime, go inside water, make sure we get all the forms filled out, kick return question, second drive question, and 2-minute words of wisdom for each person that I guest tonight. The cool thing about this podcast is it's the first podcast that will have more than a certain number of questions. So we have about 2 questions per segment in the football thing. So DragonFly Max, are you guys ready?
Ready. Let's kick it off.
Perfect.
Do this.
Pre-game. It's all you guys. Information, tell about yourself. Each person go through. Brandon, if you want to go first, tell about yourself. Clint, tell about yourself. Rachel, if you don't mind telling us a little about yourself, and then we'll go right into your product about all that stuff. Go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, Coach Stone, thank you for having us on. We're honored to be here. This is a kind of a new experience, I think, for all of us. So we're appreciative of that. But just a couple of words about myself. I'm kind of a baseball nut. So in the bio that we sent over to you, we kind of outlined. I played baseball at UAB in Birmingham, Alabama. So that's I guess maybe that's where life peaked for me. Not really. But it was, it was an experience that I enjoyed, and it shaped me. And, we're going to talk a little bit about sports and athletics and coaching and things of that nature. Obviously, that's what your podcast centers around. But that was a formative experience in my life. And I still am pretty much a baseball nut and love sports, obviously, I think, as everyone probably on this call does. And but missing a little bit of baseball right now with what we have going on. Hopefully MLB can get that kind of staked out and get a season going. But outside of kind of work and baseball and sports and things, really enjoy live music and concerts and music festivals and things of that nature. So that's where you'll catch my wife and myself in some of our downtime. So that's what we kind of do for a lot of our leisure.
Perfect. Go ahead, Clint.
Yeah, so like Brandon said, Coach, thanks for having us. A little bit about me. I've been around athletics since, in the 7th grade. Got cut from the basketball team, ended up becoming a equipment manager, and quickly shifted over into the athletic training world. And then that just kind of took off from there. I was an athletic trainer for about 15 years in Middle Tennessee. After spending some time at the University of Tennessee, working with the football program there, back in the glory days. We're hoping those days come back soon, but I was there back when Tennessee won the national championship back in 1998, and just love being around athletes, especially football. And so it's been a fun experience for me. I joined up with the DragonFly team back in 2017. I'm a bit of a geek. Brandon and Rachel will both tell you that as well, but tried to take the athletic stuff and the athletic training piece that I knew and combine that with some of that technology. I'm by no means at the level of our developers, but I try to use my understanding of technology and really bring that to what DragonFly offers to athletes, just to make it, make sports easier, right? We want to make sure coaches can focus on the kids and really, do a lot to just uplift kids and make their experience special. And so that's for my role at DragonFly. I'm the product manager, so I do a lot of interaction with coaches and athletic directors and athletic trainers, just trying to find out what kind of things can we bring to the table to make your job a bit easier. So like Brandon said, family time is important, and so for me, I spend a lot of time. I've got 3 little ones and a 4th on the way, and we spend a lot of time, my wife and I, with them and at church, and just trying to enjoy that. And every so often I get to play a little golf, and I enjoy that. But
nice.
But that's a little bit about me.
Congrats. Rachel, you're all up.
Yeah, so much like these guys, I have been around sports my entire life. I come from just a family of sports nuts, even though some people in my family are fans of rival teams. So everything was just always interesting, even like Thanksgiving and Christmas. So sports has just always been a part of my life and a part of my family's life. And so I love the game. I love competition. And I'm very passionate about what DragonFly does just for those reasons. I really believe in what sports do for young people, discipline and confidence and perseverance and all of the different life lessons that young people learn from athletics. I wake up every morning and I'm passionate about what I do for DragonFly because I know there are coaches using our product who are instilling that in young people. So I played soccer and softball and really anything they would let me play as a kid. And then when I went off to college, I became a rower at the University of Florida and really fell in love with that sport. It was very different for me because it was a team sport in a way that I had never experienced it. There was no ball. there was no necessarily other team right in front of me in a contact sport. A lot of times we just raced against the clock, or there were times when we were racing against another boat. And so it was exciting, and I was in the best shape of my life. And then after college, I got to do a lot of different cool things in media and marketing to support sports. One of the coolest things I did was I worked for the Florida Marlins before they became the Miami Marlins. And that's really when I knew I just wanted to be around sports in my career. So for DragonFly, it was kind of kismet and perfection how we met. I really connected with the guys on the team in my interview, and it just seemed like a perfect opportunity for me to come and really help the DragonFly team make sure the right message gets to the right person at the right time. There are so many different people who use our software, but we want to make sure that all of them have a really great experience. And so my job is to make sure that the words on the screen are helping people in their user journey on our software. But then I also proactively message people through email and social media and just various communication forms to just make sure they know about DragonFly and all the things that we can do to support athletics and to help teams just get their team in the game and stay in the game.
That's awesome. And if you don't mind, I don't know if Brandon or you want to talk about it. Tell us the information about DragonFly.
Rachel, I think you are as you talk about, you're the wordsmith here, so I may kick that over to you and let you take that.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean, we say at DragonFly that we make sports and activities more organized with easy-to-use digital forms, health records, and team communication tools. So essentially, we view ourselves and our product is a one-stop shop for the athletic department and for every person who is connected to sports and activities. So whether you are a program director or an athletic and activities director, a coach, an athlete, a parent, an official, even a state association administrator for schools that use our product. We have something for everybody. And so our technologies remove the administrative burden and help everybody do what they need to do in a way that's electronic and it's quicker, so that people can spend more time focusing on the game and less time under a pile of paperwork. When we talk about our product and introduce it to people, we showed this picture of a guy named Pat Smith, and he's the athletic director in our hometown of Hartselle at Hartselle High School. But he's really the guy that we have created our product for, because that guy, right before the school year, he has got a mountain of paperwork that he's under, and he can't take that last trip to the beach because he's got to worry about physicals getting in and all of these waivers being signed and things like that. And so we tell people that the reason DragonFly exists is to remove all of the administrative paperwork and the workload off the burden of the people who can really then just invest in students and in athletes who are playing the game. And I'll let the other guys jump in because there's more to it than that. There's so much more that we do on a technical level, but really that's the heart of what we do, is just removing the administrative burden from coaches so that they can invest more time in their players instead.
Rachel, could you do me a favor? Can you tell everybody, like social media-wise, where can the links be found? Like if they want to follow you on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, do you guys have all those things?
Absolutely, we do. So if you look us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, all you got to do is type in DragonFly Athletics, and you will find us. Our logo is a red hurricane, and the name DragonFly is just very unique. You can't miss it. So if you look us up on any of those platforms, you will find us. And our handle on pretty much everything is at DragonFly Athletics, except for Twitter. Twitter, our handle is at DragonFly_Max. So look us up. Again, we're the red hurricane. You can't miss us.
Awesome. Brandon, do you want to jump in with something?
Yeah. So from echoing everything that Rachel said there, number one, since we're still at the top of the pod here, not sure if it's kosher on the podcast, but if you want to turn this into a little bit of a fun drinking game, as people are wanting to do at times, the number of times that you hear One Stop Shop on the podcast here today, you can take yourself a drink of your beverage of choice. Maybe that's water. But that we really have focused for the last several years on that one-stop shop experience, and so we'll talk about that throughout. If you join us for a demonstration, if you watch one of our demonstrations online as you get started, and any of the messaging that's coming from Rachel and her team, and what we really mean by that is kind of drawing that through line from the point of, hey, we got to get registered for an event or for another school year, or get registered with our athletic department, but if there's an event happening, we try to kind of give you that foundation and that structure to make that event happen. So you register, and if you're taking up, paperwork, if you're taking up payments, the point where you have to schedule the event, and you got to alert the parents and athletes and any of the coaches, officials, if that's a part of your event as well. And then on the back end, being able to enter those scores in and pay the officials and submit invoices and gate receipts and just things of that nature. There's a lot of work, more than probably I ever knew as I participated in athletics growing up. There's a lot of work that coaches and athletic directors put into these experiences for athletes and for kids, and even for the parents. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes for these coaches and athletic directors that parents don't necessarily realize. And so that's kind of where we specialize, not necessarily on the front end, on the websites and kind of the flashy advertising, but really more the grunt work on the back end that it takes to get your event off the ground and do kind of the behind-the-scenes work. So that's where we feel like we specialize and where we live is making sure that we help you with that administrative work so that you can be out on the field with the athletes, with the kids, and running your event, as opposed to spending time behind a desk pushing papers around.
Awesome. And then, Clint, did you want to add something to that for pregame?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, I think from my standpoint, the thing that stands out to me most about our product and the way that one-stop shop works, Brandon, I'm keeping a tally of that, by the way. The thing that stands out most is the communication tools that we have to offer. It's not just about handling the paperwork side and the administration, but but all of the ways that you in the athletic department have to communicate with a lot of people. I know as an athletic trainer, I tried to make a point to talk to every one of my coaches every single day. And it's difficult to do. It's difficult to find those folks. And then, you got to have a brief conversation. And our tools allow us to share information in a way that every coach already kind of knows what's going on across the whole department, what games are going on, if a game's been rained out, anything like that. Obviously the sports medicine side as well, but just keeping everybody on the same page, and doing that without having to go through a ton of extra work. It's just you get into that, again, that one-stop shop. You make your changes or do your communication through our tools, and then everybody else that's involved in the department knows what's going on. And so that's one of the things that I think is so great about Dragonfly. It's one of the reasons why I'm with Dragonfly, because I was a customer before I became the product manager. I was using the product and just saw all the ways that it could be beneficial in the things that I was doing on a daily basis and the things that our coaches were doing on a daily basis. And so that's how I came to be a part of the Dragonfly team.
Awesome. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to go to commercial break. We'll be right back. Coach Stone podcast number 37. We got Brandon, Clint, Rachel from Dragonfly. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Do you preach about ball security? Is getting better each day something you strive to do? Do you want to work to eliminate fumbles? The High and Tight Teaching Football is a revolutionary design football that encompasses virtually every method known to eliminate fumbling, thus maximizing your opportunity to be victorious. The High and Tight Teaching and Training Football is state-of-the-art patented football that gives athletes and those around instant, audible feedback when you are holding the football correctly, high and tight, thus closing the gap between the wrist and the body and the elbow and the body. Whether you're a player, utilize the wing tee carrying with two hands over the ball, or a pro style against their body, High and Tight provides an audible alert when proper hold is executed correctly. Start to create habits that win games with teaching your players how to carry the ball high and tight. Order yours today at highandtight.com. Use promo code Coach Stone to save.
Coach Stone podcast number 37, back from commercial break. We have Dragonfly on, Brandon, Clint, and Rachel from Dragonfly. Here we go, guys and lady. We have a kickoff question. Brandon, you're the first one up. Okay, we're into a two-part question. Brandon, you're going to go first. I'll give you your question. Tell us about Dragonfly product and how a coach can get started, especially in the youth leagues. The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Coach Stone. So we've talked a little bit about it thus far. So, again, we're really trying to build that one-stop shop experience for youth leagues, for rec leagues. It was kind of born out of the secondary schools, the high school world, but obviously we've taken lots of feedback from the youth leagues, the rec leagues, and it works. So, hey, we got event registration and payments and communication around that event and calendar notifications. And so we've, again, tried to take all of the administrative burden off of coaches. And that works, obviously, across the board in athletics. But let me kind of talk from another angle that we've taken here. So I will say that our CEO is one of his favorite quotes is, "Innovation never comes from the inside, it comes from the outside." And so as we came into this athletics space, obviously we've been there for a while, but as we started kind of looking around at what can we do for high schools, what can we do for youth leagues and rec leagues and those organizations, one of the things that we heard very often was, a lot of this stuff is cost prohibitive. You got parents that they just want their kids to participate, and they're trying to get them involved in different events, and obviously, the formative, I guess as you grow up, the formative values that you pull in from your experiences with those youth and rec leagues. Well, we try to make sure that Dragonfly's product is available for the kids, the parents, the coaches, and the presidents and the commissioners of those youth leagues. So I will say that the one thing that we won't probably talk a lot about today, but that I want to highlight is the fact that Dragonfly Max is free for you at your youth leagues, your rec leagues, even at the high school level, for you to get started.
Awesome.
So if you're kind of looking around for for a product that, hey, yes, we want all of these tools. We want to be able to take up our paperwork and schedule our events and send out notifications and communicate and track our injuries. But hey, typically those things are very cost prohibitive. So I would invite you as one of our kind of our driving forces here is, hey, it's got to be affordable or no one can use it. We can't reach the people that we're trying to reach with our product, help the people that we're trying to help with our product. If there is that if the cost prohibitive nature to it, it can't fit into your budget. So we'll talk a lot about the features as we go through today, but I do want to make sure that I highlight that, hey, we offer this free to different members, rec leagues, youth leagues, and so we really want that to be available to you. And if you're interested in just kind of getting started or taking a tour or a demo or talking with a member of the Dragonfly team, you can get started fairly easily today just by going to dragonflymax.com and just hitting that login or sign up button, and there's lots of available information there for you to watch recorded demonstrations or to jump on what we call our Ask Me Anythings, and that's just you jump on with the Dragonfly staff and kind of ask questions and to assess if it will fit in with your organization's needs.
And the one thing I like about your product is, like, I've seen it before, because when I went to Tennessee to visit my buddy down there, he showed me on his phone. He didn't show me the kid's name, right? But he showed me on his phone. It shows you can do it on your phone, on your computer. It tells you, hey, he's got 50% done, he's got 75% done. I think that's pretty good because, like you said, it's a one-stop shop where everything's there. Where when I travel for my football camps, I have 10 pounds of paper I am bringing back from waivers and photo releases and things like that. And I think, listen, if you're listening to this podcast right now, Brandon, give me the website one more time. What's the website?
Dragonfly Max, M-A-X, dragonflymax.com.
So what I'm saying is, if you are a youth organization overseas, wherever you're at, check it out. They'll help you out. It's free to do this, so make sure you do that to sign up now. Clint, what I like to do, I'm sorry, Rachel, if it's okay with you, I have a question for you, or a kickoff question before we go to a commercial break. How would Dragonfly benefit a recreation or a club, youth leagues, or even a park district? I know that's what a rec league is, but some viewers only hear park district, and that boom, that light bulb comes out. But could you answer that question for us, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first most important thing that Dragonfly will help you do is get your players eligible to play quickly. You don't have to worry about carting around a bunch of paperwork, but more importantly, you don't have to worry about your players being a carrier pigeon and the paperwork just getting lost in their bag or on the way home, because the parents fill out the paperwork on their phone or online. So the first thing is that it gets your players eligible to play quickly and gets them on the field without having the burden of paperwork getting lost. Another benefit is that you don't have to chase down money or carry around cash and checks as a coach. The parents have the app on their phone, and if you have participation fees, whether that is just a general fee for the league, whether it's your uniforms, sponsorship, really anything at all, you can take up money for anything in Dragonfly, and it's just done digitally and instantly. And your bookkeeper has all the accounting information right there and can make a quick transfer to your bank account. So that's another great thing, is that you don't have coaches or athletic directors carrying around money. It's all just done electronically, and it makes things easier on the bookkeeper as well. Another thing that's great about Dragonfly is you have your health information instantly. So if you need to know about injuries or health history, or God forbid if there's ever an accident with one of your player's entire athletic medical record is encrypted on the app. So you wouldn't even need internet access to get that info instantly, and when you need it, to get the care to that athlete. So that's another great benefit. Just like you were talking about that coach that can pull up that information on their phone. Coaches can do that. Athletic trainers can do that. And that is something that it just covers the rec league or the youth league in a way that helps them, but then it also just gives parents this sense of security. And then the other benefit that has been a development here in the last year that we are so excited about is that we even have a comprehensive officiating platform where we handle registration, assignments, payments of officials. So a rec league could use Dragonfly to manage all of their teams, but then they could also use Dragonfly to assign and pay their officials and get their officials registered and things like that. So we really everybody take a drink. We really are a one-stop shop for a rec league or a club group as well, just because we have everything for the coach, the parent, the athletic trainer, the official, across the board in one place.
Hey, that's great. Listen, I'm not lying to you right now. If you haven't done this yet, please go to, Brandon, do you mind doing it? It's www.dragonflymax.com, right?
That's it. Yeah, dragonflymax.com, and you can get started. You'll see in the top right-hand corner, there's a big red login sign up button. That's where you can get started today, get your organization set up, and we're happy to walk you through any of the steps that we need to and answer any of your questions.
My thing is, I coach my son's flag football team, my daughter's soccer team, and they're always on me about this. This girl needs this form, or this boy needs this form to play, or, my daughter plays football, flag football, and soccer, and they're asking, I got all these forms everywhere. With Dragonfly Max, it's all there for you. You sign them up. You like Brandon said, or Rachel too, you sign up your team. I don't need to have a private Facebook page anymore. You know how many private Facebook pages of how many teams I've had in the past? I don't need to do that anymore. And then I could upload my playbook if I wanted to for the kids. Is that right, Rachel?
Sure. I mean, you could, with Dragonfly, you can share pictures of things with Dragonfly. Brandon, that would be a question for Brandon or Clint about uploading files. I'm not sure about that.
Like a PDF, just like a PDF file and stuff.
Yeah, you absolutely can do that. So we have. Go ahead, Clint. You take it. Let the geek take this one as far as the technology.
Well, I mean, absolutely. We've got ways for you to upload documents into your organization that you create. So you can have things like a playbook. You can have things like your own custom forms that you need to build. Things like one that comes up a lot is team rules. I've got a list of team rules that I want every kid to sign. I want every parent to sign this. Or I know one of the schools I used to work with, they do a spectator agreement. They want people that, when the parents are going to come and be at the game, they want them to be kind to the officials. And so they've got a spectator agreement that they ask the parents to sign. But, I mean, it's really anything. If you can think of a way to have a document or have some type of image that you need to get into, and get it out to all the people in your organization, you can do that through Dragonfly.
Awesome. Perfect. So let's do this. Let's go to a commercial break, and then we'll come back with the first drive question. We got Brandon, Clint, Rachel from Dragonfly on. Coach Stone podcast number 37. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
The safety of your players is more important than ever. As the game changes to protect the players, Tackle Tube USA is a leading way with the original innovative product design, not only to practice safer, but promote and teach the best tackling technique. Invented in 2009 by professional rugby player and coach Glenn Remnant, Tackle Tube allows the players to simulate real game situations, track and tackle a moving target, promote great body position, and improve technique and timing. Coaches in the U.S. and all over the globe are using Tackle Tube to promote a safer and more effective way to tackle. Unlike other bags that have a limited use, there are many ways to use a Tackle Tube in your practice, both in season and out of the season. Drills for every position. Tackle Tube never needs to leave the practice field. Check us out at TackleTubeUSA.com or on our YouTube channel and all social media. Look for Tackle Tube USA.
Back from commercial break, Coach Stone podcast number 30. Got Brandon, Clint, Rachel on from Dragonfly. Here we go. First drive question, guys. Clint, I'm going to give this one to you, okay? What does Dragonfly offer in terms of athlete safety and improving the game from a sports medicine angle? That's a pretty tough one. The floor is yours, Clinton.
Well, I love the way you phrase that, for improving the game, because that I feel like that is, from a sports medicine professional's role. A lot of people think that they're just there to make sure the kids stay safe, and I get a lot of that. I'm definitely one of those that wants to be a little conservative, but my real goal for being there is to make sure that those kids have a great opportunity to participate and to play. And so what Dragonfly can bring to that role is just some amazing tools that help the athletic trainer keep the athletes healthy, handle the rehabilitation, and also to communicate with coaches, hey, what can I do as a coach to keep this kid active, even in that injured state, right? So we have, through our mobile app, athletic trainers are able to use our software to document injuries. They can actually create home exercise programs with images and with video to show the athlete as they're doing some of their rehab or as they're doing an agility exercise, what are the exercises that I need to be doing. I used to even record my athletes within their profile, so it's all secure and it's all specific to that athlete, but I would record them doing certain agility drills or certain exercises so they could have a cue of, oh yeah, I remember I was doing this thing and that was an awkward exercise, but now I remember how to do it. And then they can keep working on that at home, which gets them back on the field faster. We've also got some tools built in as far as concussion management. Of course, that's a big thing, and so we've got SCAT assessments built in that can be done right there on the sideline as soon as an injury occurs, and you can do a quick symptoms analysis. And obviously, that's not the only thing you're going to go on as a healthcare provider or even as a coach, but you at least can keep good records of what you were seeing the minute that injury happened, and that helps the recovery process. It really gives it a boost in order to get those athletes back faster. And then I think some of the other things that I would point out from an overall safety standpoint are we were talking about uploading different types of documents earlier. The emergency action plan is one of those things that every school should have an emergency action plan for every venue that they have going on, and that applies not just to schools, but we were talking before the rec leagues and the youth leagues. You should have that information there so people know where's the ambulance going to come if somebody gets hurt. Who do I go to get keys to the ice machine or to open this gate so that people can get in and out. Things like that. Our software has the ability to for you to upload your emergency action plans. So those get shared across your athletic department, across your league, and that really enhances that level of safety and the sports medicine stuff. So I think the thing that I would say probably the thing that sold me the most was we when I joined Dragonfly in 2017, we shifted into this paperwork management stuff, and I hated paperwork. Absolutely hated dealing with the physicals because they just kind of trickled in all year long, and it was one of those things where I wanted that paperwork done and out of my way so I could focus on my athletes and keep them safe. And what was great about it was all of the documentation that we're collecting from people. That information is useful. When I know that a kid has a peanut allergy, or I know that they've got a history of ankle sprain or whatever that might be, that just allows me to care for that athlete a lot better and allows me to keep my coaches informed. And as the coaches are informed, they are able to care for those athletes better on the practice field and in the game. And so those are the ways that I would say Dragonfly offers a huge improvement to what you can do as a coach in any sport.
Well, I think it'd be cool because I've coached women's tackle football, and I've coached high school youth and all levels. I've coached even international teams. What I like about that is if I have my cell phone, I mean, everyone has a cell phone nowadays, and like this athlete comes off and he was injured, and then I'm like, hey, you can't come out here until we get a release. And I usually have to run and go get the doctor, be like, hey, is he okay? And then I would have to shout or run and waste time. Here, if I saw him running, I can just give a phone to my assistant or whatever. He can look it up, and it'd be like, oh, he's good to go. Little Billy's good to go. I think this is awesome that, it just improves it all together. And I apologize for the super intelligent question there, Clint. I just try to pretend I'm a dumb jock, so I apologize. But let's do this. No, that was
a great question.
Thank you. Let's do this. Rachel, here's a question for you. And it's still the first drive question. How can families use Dragonfly and benefit from the product? The floor is yours.
Thanks. Well, I think something that Clint touched on earlier that we can all agree on is that paperwork just sucks, and we consider that one of our slogans at Dragonfly. Paperwork sucks. Filling out the same paperwork year after year, having to write your address and phone number in like 5 different times in a packet, and you've got 3 kids that you've got to fill out each packet for. It's just inconvenient and time-consuming, and it's a part of life that we've all grown to accept, except with Dragonfly, you don't have to do that anymore. So I think the first way that Dragonfly is great for families and for parents like you, Coach, and you, Clint, and myself, who've got multiple kids, like it just takes your information, you fill it out once, and then it fills it into forms for you, and it cuts down on so much time you're spending on paperwork for sports and activities, and it gives you that time back to do with whatever you like. If your wife wants to watch reruns of Fixer Upper, guess what? She can do that and not have to fill out paperwork. So that is one way that it benefits a family. And every time I'm filling out paperwork for my kids' preschool, I'm like, ugh, I wish this would just be in Dragonfly because I wouldn't have to sit here and write this 5 times. So that's a huge benefit for moms and dads. But another way it helps families, it just helps them stay in touch and be on the same page with their coach through the messaging and the team calendar. You don't have to, carry around this paper calendar, make sure it's on the refrigerator, that kind of stuff. Go back and forth between a Facebook group or a Google Doc or things like that. It's all just right there on the app, and if you need to talk to your coach, boom, you just right there on the app, message them. And really, it's like Clint was touching on, it helps families keep in touch with their care provider or their athletic trainer. When an athletic trainer puts an injury or documents an injury in Dragonfly, a parent is immediately notified. So you can look at the injury information before you even get to the field. You can revisit an injury record if your kid, has got some rehab assigned, or the next day you get a referral to a doctor and you've got to share that with your doctor. It's there in Dragonfly, and you can even show pictures to the doctor and things like that if your athletic trainer takes those pictures and puts them in the injury documentation. So it's a huge benefit to the family just from a convenience factor, but also from just a health and safety angle. Dragonfly is a huge benefit as well. So we're really proud of all of that and just how we've grown over the years to not just help the athletic department or the athletic program, but also to just make life easier for parents who are usually drowning in a sea of paperwork at the beginning of the school year or the beginning of the season.
That's awesome. Hey, let's do this. That is perfect, Rachel. Let's do this. Coach, let's go right to halftime, get some water, and talk about the one-stop shop. Coach Stone Podcast number 37, Brandon, Clint, Rachel from Dragonfly. We'll be right back after halftime.
What legacy will you leave as a coach? The three-dimensional coaching framework empowers coaches at every level to fulfill their transformational purpose by helping them become fundamentally sound, skilled at coaching the mind, and focus on developing the heart. Are you needing to take courses to meet professional development or recertification requirements? If so, check out the different online 3D coaching course offerings at 3dinstitute.com. You can even take the 3D coaching course for 3 graduate credits. Make sure you use the coupon UNITEALL to save 10% on your entire cart. That's UNITEALL, no spaces, all one word, at 3dinstitute.com.
The Big Four, a physical education book written by Coach Anthony Stone, can be purchased through the following locations: Amazon, iTunes, BarnesandNoble.com, and Kobo.
Go Army Edge Football is a free game-changing app that allows coaches to draw their plays with X's and O's like on a whiteboard, and then get the mental reps from the first person's perspective of any position on the field with real-time 3D graphics or virtual reality. Go Army Edge Football comes preloaded with many example plays and drills for concepts such as formation recognition and RPO reads. Any coach in any system can benefit from demonstrating in Go Army Edge Football, and every player can become a better football player with extra reps in the app. Go visit them on their Twitter or Facebook. Insert at Go Army Edge.
Brunch, $30.
Hey, that's okay, Wendy. That was a good carry. You're still the man. You're the man.
Latte, $4.
Shake it off, Johnny. Rub some dirt on it.
New piano, $3,000.
All right, guys. They're not saying boo. They're saying movers.
Supporting your team. Priceless.
All right, Bobby. You still got the best arm in the neighborhood.
There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
This is decaf, right?
Back from halftime, Coach Stone Podcast number 37. This is an awesome thing. If you haven't gone to it, go to dragonflymax.com. We got Brandon, Clint, and Rachel on. Here's the kick return question. It's only one for this one. Brandon, we're going to give you this one. When I heard about Dragonfly through my coach from Maryville, he said this is a one-stop shop, right? How is this product help teams? If there's a team overseas that wants to use it, a women's league, or a youth team, please elaborate more with all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So we have set up our infrastructure from let's talk from the development technology standpoint. So we've kind of ticked off the features that are there from notifications and your paperwork management and sports medicine and injury tracking and the things that we've been through so far. Again, kind of set up from, hey, draw a through line from the beginning of kind of registration for an event and payments for those events and what's going on in injury track. So we've kind of talked about that, but let's talk about from a team overseas or a rec league or a youth league, a women's league, something that maybe we haven't discussed just yet. I think probably one of the unique things in what we mean by the one-stop shop here is that we have a kind of a custom development shop from a technology standpoint. So we've talked a lot about athletics, but just a little peek behind the curtain from the development side of things. So the way that we have kind of structured our software is we've built kind of the framework of the house. And so we've allowed you to then take those tools and expand upon them in whatever way meets your needs, whatever way fits inside in your league. So we haven't tried to build a product that matches any specific league, but rather we've tried to build a framework of a product that allows each and every league to kind of, all right, let's take these pieces, the fundamentals, the structure here, and then build out upon it to kind of structure it into what really fits with our league's needs. And so rather than trying to guess at what fits in with any league overseas, maybe we've never had a conversation with you. Maybe we've never had the pleasure, the opportunity to learn what it means to kind of tailor our software to your league. Well, we've tried to just take the computer science approach to it and give you a way to build out your own custom tools for your league. And so I think, again, if you want to visit dragonflymax.com and walk through some of the features, again, Rachel and her team have done a really good job of building out kind of the explanation of the tools that are there. Again, I won't say that we've completely tailored to your league because, hey, we haven't talked to you. We don't know what your needs are specifically and personally, but we have, again, built this kind of framework for that fits into this one-stop shop. So if it's related to paperwork, if it's related to payments, if it's related to team communication or sports medicine, we've given you kind of the beginning tools to then build out what you need to be equipped for your league or for your team. And so I think that really kind of comes at it from another angle on what we mean by that one-stop shop. So we've built the features and the structure, and then we allow you to build that around your league or your team, regardless of your location, the way your team or league is structured.
Okay, let me ask this question off topic here. Let's say they got this whole framework built, and I love the framework from the house, right? And let's say we had that one youth parent or one parent that's like upset that they haven't turned in their program, right? So let's say they haven't turned in like a form they just have to sign, right? Your program, it sounds like, could just, if they go on their phone or if you have the coach's computer, could they just sign that and then give that to the coach right there and then? Or how would that work? Or if they like leave and then you call them and they don't want to drive back, is there a way they can do that?
Yeah,
Coach,
absolutely.
I was going to say, Brandon, I'll step in on that because I've had that experience, right? We're getting on the bus trying to get to a game, and this kid can't, like, he hadn't been at practice for 3 days. How do we know whether he can go to the game or not? And, we need a doctor's note or we need whatever permission slip they need. And mom and dad can just pull their cell phone out right there, open the Dragonfly app, and snap a picture of that doctor's note and send it. So they don't have to go hunting down a fax machine or go flying down the city streets trying to make it to the school in time.
Or a FedEx or
and leave their kid there. Yeah, absolutely. It's a simple process of just pull your phone out, open up the Dragonfly Max app, turn on the camera, and take a picture of that document for your kid's profile, and then that information is there. So, yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to use our software. Okay,
I just had to ask that question. Hey, listen, those are great things. Let's do this. Let's go to the commercial break, and then I got a last two-parter second drive question, if that's okay for all of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Perfect. Coach Stone podcast number 37. We got Brandon, Clint, and Rachel on the podcast from Dragonfly. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Safe contact, sound fundamentals. Tackle bar football is a safer approach that preserves the tradition and fundamentals of the football game. What is tackle bar football? Tackle bar football is a safer approach to the game that preserves the tradition and spirit of the sport. Players wear traditional football equipment plus a tackle bar harness that holds two foam bars across the lower back. The defender must attract and engage with a proper form tackling technique while wrapping the ball carrier and ripping a bar from the harness. With this approach, players stay on their feet rather than taking the ball carrier to the ground. Tackle bar.
Back from commercial break, Coach Stone podcast number 37. We got Brandon, Clint, and Rachel from Dragonfly on. Here we go, guys. Second drive question. I'm going to go to Rachel first. Rachel, you mentioned that you've had more than 300,000 users when I talked to you on the phone before we started this podcast. What teams use Dragonfly and at what levels, if you don't mind?
Sure. Well, Dragonfly is used by middle and high schools in every state in the country, first and foremost. We have a very, very strong presence, though, in the Southeast. Pretty much every school in Alabama, Mississippi, and Arkansas use Dragonfly as the system of record for their state. That's how trusted the platform is. But in addition to that, we're also in the state of Maryland. We're the system of record for Fulton County, Georgia, which is the Atlanta area, and all of their schools or high schools. We have a strong presence in Broward County, Florida, which is a big recruiting ground for college football. So we are Dragonfly is a fit for small schools in a town where there is one stoplight, and Dragonfly is for those powerhouse schools, like one here in our home state of Alabama, Hoover High School. They've been using our stuff for years and years. So Dragonfly really is for any type of a school or program. Like Brandon and Clint were talking about, the way that we're set up, you can go in there and put your custom organizational standards in there, and then everything else is just going to flow from that. So, but in addition to that, Dragonfly is no stranger to athletics. We've been around since 2005, 2006 in the college football space. There's a whole other side of our company that works in Division I football, that works with ESPN and Fox Sports for video distribution and game film and digital playbooks. So when it comes to Dragonfly being a trusted technology provider, just know that we are trusted by the biggest names in college football. We are trusted by the biggest names in sports media, but we're also trusted by state associations, big football programs, and athletics programs to run their teams. So we kind of run the gamut in terms of who's using Dragonfly and who's having success with our technology.
That's pretty awesome. Now, here's a question I want to do. Clint, you're the tech guy, the tech guru will say right now. I'm going to give you a props here. Technology in Division I space, and why don't you just talk about a little like some of your clients and things like that?
Yeah, well, I think Rachel hit on some of that. A lot of where Dragonfly started was in the Division I football space. We were building out video software. Basically to eliminate the need of GAs to travel all across the country exchanging film for college football, and that's kind of where we got our chops. But our CEO, Kirk Miller, was the director of technology in the athletic department for the University of Alabama. And
Roll Tide.
This Dragonfly, we didn't want to hear that today, being a Vol, but they've got a Kirk brought on a great staff to get things started with that in that video space, and really, working with the College Football Playoff Committee and ESPN and just all those universities that have come together to use our video technologies. And then Kirk went back at a certain point, and I know Brandon was a part of that as well, of going back to the University of Alabama and saying, how else can we help? And those conversations kind of spun into a sports medicine and strength and conditioning, kind of how can we help those communicate to one another And then as Brandon did some of the investigation further, he realized there's such a need for this in the high school market. And so the product has just kind of exploded from there. But I will say, I'll drop the name of one. It's not a Division I school, but since Rachel brought up Hoover, I think one of our customers, Jeff Seegers, would be upset if we didn't also mention Vestavia Hills High School, who's done a great job using our software. I don't want him to be upset with us, but we've got partners all over the country that are using this stuff. We've got some schools that for years have only used our messaging tool, it's a school out in Washington that's doing that. Brandon, you may want to speak to that. Is it University of Washington or Washington State?
It's actually the University of Washington baseball team. Yeah, the University of Washington baseball team. So that's they've used just the messaging communication component for years. Basically, since we developed it, we had kind of initiated conversations with them over the sports medicine side of things, and one of their the pitching coach out there picked it up and started using it to communicate with his team, and here we are 5-6 years later, and they're still using the communication portion of our product. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Okay, let's do this. Let's go to commercial break. Last one. We got the 2-minute warning, the words of wisdom, where all three of you can give us your 2-minute words of thought, and we'll be right back. Does that sound like a plan?
Absolutely.
Coach Stone podcast number 37, Brandon, Clint, and Rachel from Dragonfly. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Watch Game Film, the simple and affordable way to watch, exchange, and manage game film. Watch Game Film has been around for 10 years and works with all sports and all levels of play. Subscriptions start at $100 per team and include unlimited film. www.watchgamefilm.com.
Back from commercial break, Coach Stone podcast number 37. We have Brandon, Clint, and Rachel from Dragonfly on. Here we go. 2-minute warning, words of wisdom. We're going to go Brandon first, Rachel, and then Clint, you're bringing it home. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yes, I'm going to kind of speak to a couple of things. Obviously, crazy times in our world right now, and I'm going to take this back to we mentioned at the top that my baseball coach at UAB, or mentioned I played baseball at UAB, excuse me, and my coach at UAB just announced his retirement after 30 years coaching in the game, and so I know we've got coaches listening in here, and I wanted to just two points that he always kind of hammered home with us around the around the locker room, and as we're just kind of going through life. He was very much an ambassador of, hey, be good people, be respectful, be kind, and so that his retirement and kind of the happenings around the world right now and what's going on with pandemics and things of that nature, it's really resonating with me at this point. And so I want to say to the coaches out there that are listening, I didn't understand that the impact that he was making and the points and the character that he was building inside me at the time. And now I'm an adult and I've got some, I can look back in the rearview mirror. And so just want to encourage you coaches that are out there and influencing, the youth or the high school players, or again, if you're overseas, no matter where you're coaching, you've got a platform, and your players are paying attention and they're soaking up the lessons that you're trying to teach them, even if they don't understand it at the time. They're gonna put it all together years later. So lots of things that Coach Brian Shoup at UAB taught me while I was there that I didn't quite understand at the time have begun to make a lot of sense to me at this point in time as an adult. So I just want to say, hey, I'm thankful for all of you coaches out there that give so much time to the youth and to the kids and athletes of the world. Just thank you for that time, and just know that we're all paying attention and what you're doing matters.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Go ahead. Next person. Rachel, you're up.
Yeah, I echo a lot of the same sentiments that Brandon shared, but one of my favorite mantras or verses in life is, never grow weary of doing good. And that's what I believe coaches do. When I just think back to whether I was playing in rec leagues as a kid or playing at the high school or college level, my coaches instilled so many important things in me that I've carried on now into my professional career and into my family. So even when it's hard, even if you've got a mountain of paperwork that Dragonfly can help you with, don't grow weary of doing good and pouring into young people, because you never know what they have going on at home. And a lot of times you might be the only one who's encouraging them. You might be the only one who's teaching them to keep their chin up and to persevere, and the lessons that they're learning from you and the way they're looking up to you, that will last a lifetime, like Brandon's talking about. So also, let us help you work smarter so that you can spend more time with your athletes. Allow us to take that burden of paperwork off of you, the burden of messaging, all of those things, so that you can focus on, what you love and what you do best, which is pouring into young people and building the leaders of tomorrow. That's why Dragonfly exists. We're passionate about what we do. We don't just spout this stuff. We all, as you can see, have experience with athletics and sports medicine. We really care about the people who use our product. We really care about the features we build in our product, and it's so coaches, their lives can be easier and invest in young people. So words of wisdom is do not grow weary of doing good, and let us help you work smarter. Use Dragonfly.
That's awesome. And I always say it's my quarterback, first smarter, not harder. That's awesome. Perfect. Clint, you're the man. Let's go. You're up, bro.
Yeah. Well, I'll echo the things that Brandon and Rachel have both said. The impact that coaches have on lives is just amazing, and I think that carries on. I know for me, one of my high school coaches, who's now one of my best of friends, is a guy named Lee Phillips, and he's a championship softball coach in Tennessee. But he was coaching everything when I was in school, and he really invested in me. He's the guy I talked about earlier. I got cut from the 7th grade basketball team. He's the guy that did it. He cut me, but then he immediately invested in my life to bring me on into something bigger for me, and that kept me engaged in sports and gave me an opportunity to do something that has had such an impact on my life. And now for me to be able to do that for others through my interactions as an athletic trainer with individual athletes, and now through Dragonfly and the impact we're having across the country, is just such a great thing. But the coach that I worked with at the school that I was at for almost 12 years as the athletic trainer was a guy named Dennis Goodwin. And Dennis, he wanted to make sure that he taught the kids to leave a legacy, right? And the way you did that was not by the wins or the losses, and it wasn't by being necessarily the best athletes out there, but it was about relationship. I'm looking right now. I've been looking at there's a group in Nashville, where I'm from, Nashville, Tennessee, and it's called the Nashville Coaching Coalition. And I see this quote here from a coach. It's on their website, but it talks about just we've lost some of it because of the things that are going on in the country right now. We've lost some of the ability to be together and to build relationships, and that's something that's so valuable in sport. And just to be able to have side-by-side and face-to-face relationships, which we're not getting right now. And so for you coaches, as hopefully seasons are picking back up and we're about to start getting back into that day-to-day and really getting ready for the season, I just encourage you to focus on those relationships and leave that kind of legacy with your athletes. If Dragonfly can help with that, we definitely want to be there to do that, because we want you to be able to focus on those kids, because that's what's going to leave the mark in our country. That's what's going to leave a mark in the lives of those kids you're around. So, Coach, thank you so much for having the Dragonfly team on with you. We've had a great time here tonight.
Well, hey, listen, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Clint. Thank you, Rachel. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it. Rachel, if it's okay with you, can you tell everybody the social media stuff so they can just go through it one more time? I apologize. I know you did it the first time. That's why I didn't want to steal your thunder.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'd be happy to. So look us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Type in Dragonfly Athletics. Look for the Red Hurricane. You can't miss us. But if you want to shout out at us on Twitter, we're at Dragonfly_Max. Same with Instagram. We're at Dragonfly Athletics. Those are our handles. So give us a follow, and we've got some content on there for Motivational Monday and different tips for using the platform, and we would love to connect with you. And even just shoot us a message if you end up getting on the platform. We would love to hear how you're using it, or if you ever need anything. We have all sorts of instructional walkthroughs and guides, and through a platform called Dragonfly Academy. But we just really want to empower you to take advantage of the platform. So never hesitate to reach out to us. Living, breathing human will reach right back out to you, and we would love to talk to you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, listen, that's game over. I want to thank you guys again, Brandon, Clint, Rachel. Thanks for coming on from Dragonfly. Coach Stone podcast number 37. I want to thank JC Hawks Radio, JC Hawks Sports Network, BJ. If you ever miss an episode of any of my podcasts, you can listen to them on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, and now Google Play under JC Hawks Radio. Also remember, go to my website for more information about the podcast, blogs, books, football tips, and free PE games. Go to www.coachstonefootball.com. Also, I recommend when you go to my website, go to the bottom of my website for promo codes of all the products that I think would help you as a coach or a player. Some you'll hear during the commercial breaks on this podcast. Remember, if you haven't seen my Back to the Basics book, drill manuals, I highly recommend them. They are on Amazon.com, hardcover and Kindle. There are currently 11 football books out. They are for everything from tackle, flag, tackle bar, football cleaning notebook, a mom's edition, and a junior edition. Over 29 pages of football drills and content. Guys and Rachel, thank you again for coming.
Thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you for having us.
Great.
Perfect. Coach Stone podcast number 37. Always remember, instilling confidence by laying a foundation. Thank you and have a great day.
Coach Stone podcast.